Hey guys, welcome back to Medical Coding with Blue. Today's episode is all about my likes and dislikes about my job in medical coding. If you're brand new to my channel, welcome. I am Blue, I'm a medical coder. Okay, I got this request multiple times last week. So here it is, what my likes and my dislikes are. Okay, so there's not a lot of dislikes that I have about medical coding. Yes, would I prefer that all my providers have perfect documentation? Of course. Would I prefer that they don't forget things that I have asked them to do? Of course. But it is part of the territory. So I don't really have a lot of dislikes when it comes to medical coding. I think that any dislikes that I have about my work and my job is literally like office politics type related. You know what I'm saying? It's like going to meetings. Meetings is not my favorite, honestly, because if we're in a meeting and there's people that are complaining, and you're always going to find people that complain, and they're going to complain about anything and everything. And so that, I feel like sometimes, not all of the meetings, but I do feel like a lot of the meetings are just like, why are we here? This could have been settled over an email. And so that is one of the things that I dislike about my job. And I think that that's anybody can dislike going to meetings. But that's one of the things that I dislike. I also dislike micromanagement, like doing things that are just like really, like having to send in workload reports. Our supervisor can run your workload. I mean, they literally can run a report that says how many encounters that you did in a day. So why do I need to send in this report? You know what I'm saying? So to me, that's just like a menial task. And that's one of the things I don't like. I feel like when I do these little menial tasks, it's just like a waste of time. When I know I've completed my productivity for the day, and I know that whatever I have on there, I could lie and say I did this exorbitant amount of encounters. But then my supervisor can always run the report and say, oh, really, Blue? So to me, it's just like, okay, you see what I reported and what you got is the same thing. So why do I need to do this when you can just run a report? And you do run reports, right? So that's the only thing that I think I find annoying is having to do a workload report. If I need to report something like there was like meetings or whatever, everybody has the same meeting. We all go to the meetings together. So again, I feel like that would be one little task that could be done away with, but this is me. At the place that I worked at before, we only had to send in a workload report once per week, which I thought was okay because, it was once per week. They can run the reports, but if you had to have anything special noted on there, then they could see that once per week. We have to do it every single day. So it's just a matter of telling them how many encounters we got, how many we completed, and, did we have any time that we need to deduct from there? Like if you came in late or if you were in a meeting or whatever. Again, we all go to the same meeting, so yeah. But anyway, that's just me. I don't like little tasks like that, in meetings. I don't particularly care for it. If you let me do all the fun stuff, which is teach my providers, that's one of my most favorite things, is teaching and giving classes. That is probably my most favorite thing. Because when you are doing a class and you are teaching your providers, and then you see them and you see that engagement, it's like it's a different kind of feeling because you're a part of their growth. You're a part of their learning, and they're going to remember you for it. I have gotten calls from providers who I have worked with in the past, and they tell me, Blue, thank you so much for all your teaching. Guess what? And they'll tell me something that I taught them and how it helped them and how they're just so happy that they had me as their coder. And that's happened before. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that is an amazing feeling to have. And that is why I love what I do. That's one of the things that I love about being a medical coder, is building my relationships with my providers and having that good one-on-one, and again, doing the education with them, because it's different. It's a different kind of educational process when you are teaching adults, but when you're teaching providers, it is a completely different process because it's going to involve trust, right? Because providers can look at you and say, well, all you have is a high school diploma or a GED and a certification. I don't have to listen to you. And which you will run into that. There's going to be some providers that will do that to you. However, it is going to be on how you present yourself. Now, when this happened to me, I was like, okay, I need to turn this around. This is not how this is going to go. So I was very patient and I went through that process with them. And these providers have been more gracious since then. And so that I was able to completely turn that around because I was not going to let them just dismiss me because they thought that I was going to be like every other coder that they had. And sometimes they will treat you like that because they've had coders in the past who weren't kind to them or who mistreated them. And believe it or not, coders can mistreat their providers as well too. And if a provider can't trust their coder, there's a huge disconnect that happens. And that's not good because at the end of the day, that provider is relying on the coder to make sure that all of the correct codes are selected and that that coder understands what they're saying so that everything can be picked up appropriately. And if that coder is, there's a disconnect and that coder doesn't understand or that coder is not quite as sharp as they need to be, that provider can lose out on a lot, not just the provider, but the patient as well. So when I think about those things, you know, that's what kind of gets me to be like, okay, I can work with this. I can work with this provider because I am not like that. And I want to show my providers that this is what you need to expect. Not just, oh, it's just somebody that's in a closet in the corner that is coding. It's not like that. That coders can actually be personable and they can be one-on-one. Because there is a lot of us that are like this, that are personable, one-on-one. Talk to me and keep me focused. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of us that are like that. But there's a lot that are either brand new and they're scared and they don't want to go to these providers because they're nervous. I was like that too. I was totally like that. But part of what I love too about my job is the fact that I've been able to grow. And I literally have seen myself grow from where I was 10 years ago, right, till now. And how I have learned to be more assertive and how I have learned to be more clear with my speech and clear with the things that I want and the goals that I have for my providers. And letting them know that you have this goal in mind for them that is going to benefit them. My providers have seen that. They have literally seen it in their numbers. They have literally seen it in the quality of their work versus their counterparts in other facilities. And when they look at each other and they're like, oh, okay, well, yeah, I know this and I know this. And they're like, well, no, I didn't know this. The other providers in the other places. And so they're like, oh, yeah, you know, my coder does this and they tell us this and they tell me this and they tell me this. And so it's just like, so that to me is like one of the best things when you can build that trust. And that is one of the things I love about my job. And I always say it's a career. It's not a job. When I think of the word job, I think of like the office politics and that kind of thing. But in my profession, this is what I love. And I love being a coder. I love just learning every day. And that's one of the things that I love. Another thing I love is the learning. I don't know that I would ever have amassed this much knowledge about the medical field if I was doing anything else. I mean, clearly I wouldn't, you know. I'm the type of person that I read. I'm a reader, and I read the New England Journal of Medicine, and I read the books, and I read all of the coding companions and things like that. I read from those, and so doing that builds my knowledge, and it has built itself over time. And sometimes I'm just sitting there and I'm having a conversation, and maybe I'll be having a conversation with another coder, and they'll ask me a question, and I'll be like, oh yeah, and I'll just start reciting all of these things, and I'll sit there and be like surprised at myself, like I knew that. That was what I knew. And so that's what I love, you know. So what I do, and you know, my hours that I work, you know, it's really good. I mean, there's flexibility in the schedule. If I wanted to work, you know, longer hours and have a day off, I could do that. I just have to do that within the time that it's allowed to change your schedule. But to me, I don't like that. I don't like being away from my providers. I wouldn't do that. I have literally changed my schedule and my hours now to be more accommodating to them, because I had been getting so many hey Blue, I came here and you were already gone for the day, but I did have a question. I'm like, oh, okay. And I was hearing this so much in the last couple of months. I was like, okay, I need to change my schedule for them. So it was for their betterment, and I will do that. I will sacrifice that. And it's just an hour change, but this hour change has already helped my providers. So you know, it was a good thing. And I'm willing to give myself in that way, because if it's easier for them to contact me and to have me there and available, if it's easier for them, it's going to promote that relationship build, and it's going to promote that good trust that they have. And like I said, that trust is everything, and that's what I love. One of the things, you know. But like I said, there's not too much that I dislike about my job. Like I said, just the small tasks that I don't like. But being in this career field, you learn a lot. And I know I said learn a lot already, but you know, sharing what I've learned now and sharing it with you, my YouTube audience, and really growing my channel and just being organically me and being able to come home and do these videos and talk about what I love is really a privilege. It's an honor, you know, the fact that people even listen, right? And that's one of the things that I'm grateful for. This profession has given me so much, and really in a short time, because a lot of people wait years and they don't know, or they don't really have a passion. They have a good job, but they don't have a passion for it. I actually have a passion for medical coding. So that's what I enjoy the most. And I think that your job or your profession is whatever you make of it. And to me, when I had my aha moment 6-7 years ago now, it was really the thing that changed everything for me. It changed my outlook on things. It changed my attitude towards my work. And then the fact that I couldn't wait to get to work, that is something that really sort of made me realize, okay, this is what I love to do, because who else gets this excited about getting to work, right? But I don't know. But that's what I love, and that's what I dislike about what I do in my job. But you know, what are you gonna do? You know, and I don't think I'll ever retire. That is one thing I've always said. I may not always work where I work, but I won't ever truly retire. I think I will always have my hand in medical coding, as long as the good Lord lets me, in somehow, some way, even when I am older, you know. I'm just gonna keep going at it, so, you know, what are you gonna do? But anyway, that's my likes and my dislikes. It is a very short video, yes, but not a whole lot when you talk about it all the time that you love it. So anyway, I hope that you will subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Like this, guys, because it really does help me. Share this if it helped you, even if it's just me talking. And if you guys are interested, I do have my Patreon channel. Patreon is a lot like YouTube, except you pay to support the creator, which would be me. I do coding exercises on there. I give my coding tips on there as well. I do that more on Patreon because I think that when I try to do it here on YouTube, it doesn't quite get the play that I would hope that it would, but it does when I post it on Patreon. So if you're interested in that, see the description box below and check out the website, and I will see y'all on the next video. Bye!